Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome, all of you, on this Sunday afternoon for the final week of our AP Fair. A very warm welcome to Abhinav, sir, also. It's
Thank you,
great to
David.
see you once again, sir.
My pleasure to be here. Absolutely.
Thank you, sir. So for all the students, well, we are now at the final week of our AP, and this is the second last session of the whole AP fair. We've had some amazing sessions here, joined by hundreds of students, and I'm sure all of you also gained tremendously through the whole AP fair, learned a lot about how the different AP exams are structured, how to prepare for them, and what is the importance of the AP exams. In this final session, Abhinav sir is going to share with you some final details about your AP preparation. And following this session, we have another very interesting session where admission officers from some of the top universities in the US are going to join us, and you're going to hear about how the AP exams add to your profile, how these exams add value to your college application. So without any further ado, I pass it on to Abhinav sir. For any questions, you can feel free to use the Q&A feature which is provided. So over to you, sir.
Thank you, Devesh. Thank you so much. And how's everyone? It's been a long time that I've been on this platform. But I love the entire AP festival. There's so much which has been achieved, I think, over the past roughly 3 months now. We started with the Test Prep Festival and the AP Festival. I'm very sure and so thankful to the Next Genius Foundation for organizing this. I think this is a great exercise. And honestly, I feel very, very proud to be associated with this, that we've had some role to play here. Okay, so today's session won't be very long. I'll not be talking about a lot of things. I think already a lot has been said. Feel free to ask me questions towards the end, whatever you have. We'll have a long time to answer all of those today. So what is it that you must keep in mind when you're preparing for an AP? Hope everybody has shortlisted their AP selections now and they've registered for it. Now, of course, the registrations are closed for the current year. So you cannot register for the current year in case you've not registered for it already. So the first thing that I want the students to understand here is that the APs are not the same as your school tests. So school tests, you can somehow, pull it up closer to the test date and still be on the other side of the finishing line. On the APs, that approach would not work because the way the questions would be framed here is extremely different, completely different. These are all application-driven tests. So whereas most of your school tests, mastering the content, I think is a guarantee to success, that would not be the case on an AP, number one. So please make sure whatever AP you're preparing for, you should be done with the core content 1 month before the test date, leaving the last 1 month for test practice only. This is point number one, extremely important. If you start taking mock papers 1 week before the test date, you are in serious trouble. Second, when you take these mock papers, you must simulate the actual test conditions in terms of time. So never exceed the time on the mock paper. Please do not do that. You'll be living in a fool's paradise if you extend the time, right? Each of these tests is a time test. It has to be, that has to be adhered to, come what might happen. Third, APs are not as difficult to score on as they sound. How many of you know that to score a 5 on 5 on a physics C mechanics, out of 100, you need just 55 marks? Most kids would not know that. So don't try to take it closer to 100. Just try to keep it above 55, above 60 maybe, keeping that small margin for yourselves. And this would differ from test to test. For economics, it will be about 80, 82 out of 100 that you'll need. And what kind of raw score is required to get a 5 on the AP? It's a matter of 3 minutes of Googling for each one of you. Why don't you Google it? You'll be able to find out the relevant matches, see which one comes with a greater credibility, and then accordingly plan your prep. Fourth, AP exams have a typical marking scheme that you must learn, especially for the free response questions. For the MCQs, there is no problem at all. So when you go to the College Board website, for most of these APs, last 5 years free response questions are located there, right? When you read those and you attempt those and you write those out, some sample marking schemes are also given to you. Please make sure that you go through those. If you do not do that, it's a very, very typical marking scheme, so as to bring about standardization. So AP examiners have very little discretion in the way they choose to mark your papers. It's all governed by a centralized scheme. It's important for you to learn that scheme, right? Make sure that after you have written down the free response questions, you compare them with the sample responses given so as to figure out what would your ideal score be. Also, for most APs, your final score is a mix of your MCQs and mix of the FRQs. Try to improve your MCQ score as much as possible, reducing your dependence on the FRQ, which is going to be less reliable here. And last but not the least, those of you who are taking the third administration of APs this time around, those tests would be starting either at 9:30 p.m. or at 1:30 in the morning. Please make sure that you align your biorhythms a good 3 to 4 days before the test date. So, well, that's what I have to say about the APs. Planning the APs, what APs to take. Those of you who are taking the APs next year, they have a lot of time to plan. I think we'll come up with another session later this year, which will tell you how to choose the APs. Also, we expect to hear from College Board post July this year. We are expecting major changes in the way the APs are administered. So let's wait for that. As soon as that happens, we'll come back to you with an update from our side as to what these changes are, how they're going to impact you, and all those things. Well, I think that's about the short talk which I had to deliver. Anybody has a question, please feel very free to ask me right now. I'll be here for another.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for the short presentation. Now, I have a question which has come up. Okay, can you name a few APs which the STEM students can take, which you think, yeah.
Okay, so in my opinion, they should take a math AP, which should not be calculus. Because calculus they're studying at school, irrespective of what curriculum they go to. Right? So calculus, they'll be required to study only if their performance in school grades is not good. Otherwise, they should prefer statistics. Right? So you have to mix and match between numbers and quality and strike a balance. If you go for all quality APs are those, which probably you're not studying at school. But you can't do too many of these. You can't do too many of these, right? But if you only do APs that you're studying at school, it will be easier for you to do.
Yeah.
Right? But they would not carry as much weight. So I would generally recommend do a physics C mechanics, which is a very simple AP. For a STEM student, do a statistics. Also, if you're applying to the US, you should try to pick up at least one humanities AP, which can either be a psychology or a human geography. So that shows that you also are pretty capable from the right brain, not just from the left brain.
Got it. And and if how many APs do you see students taking in general, like students who are highly aspirational or applying to the top universities?
Depends upon when you start. So I've seen kids signing up for 5 APs at the same time, which is not doable. Right. So please understand that in the US, when a student goes to school in the high school grade 11, grade 12, 4 APs constitutes a full year's course load for the very good student. So it depends upon where are you starting, in terms of what you call as in terms of time. So if I have the APs in May and you start in February and you want to do 4 APs, it's not doable. Right. So my opinion, start early, starting in grade 9, grade 10, keep it at 2 APs per year. That's it. And start early. Planning holds the key here.
Perfect. Great. Thank you so much. I think that's really great advice. So what I take it from here is that if you start in grade 9, then you'll probably have 3 to 4 years to take AP. So you can
absolutely
cover up,
even if you do one to each year, nothing like it.
Okay. Super. A student is asking a pretty specific question. he's asking about what is the score required for a 5 on AP Calculus, AP Physics, C and E&M.
Go Google it.
Yeah, I think that's...
You'll find ready-made tables. It's no big deal.
Okay. Okay, someone is asking about what's planned after this AP fair. So we have 2 events planned after this AP fair. The one, there's going to be a session on Duolingo English test. So you'll get to learn about how Duolingo exam, Duolingo English test help students with demonstrating their English proficiency in their college applications. Yes. And after that, we have another session where we are inviting some students, some college students, talking about how they got into Harvard, Oxford, Cambridge, some of the top colleges in the US. So I just recommend all of you to keep visiting our website. Of course, we'll keep sending you communications as well via email. But these are the 2 upcoming events on the Next Genius Webinars platform. Okay, Abhinav, so this is a question for you. How to differentiate between the different history APs and which history AP should an Indian student take?
The best is AP US history if you can pull it off. If you can pull it off. It also has a huge syllabus. And it also shows a very direct, interest in going and studying in the US.
Great, great. Abhinav sir, I always think about the different curriculums, like how should a CBSE curriculum student approach the AP's ICSE curriculum? How should a IB curriculum student approach it? Because all the students have the curriculums have a different kind of way of teaching. So
somebody from IB, right? So the APs will be added to their overall IB achievement. So they should only look at those subjects which they're not studying at school. For A-level students, the IGCSE, GCSE ones, Cambridge ones, it's important for them to do some APs because their course load is very, very limited. It's just 3 or 4 subjects. So they need to prove themselves further. CBSE, ISC students need to prove that they are at par with the international curricula. So they are better off taking more APs in the areas that they're studying at school.
Okay, that's great. Okay, someone is asking, have you seen students take AP exams after going to the university? And
yes, you can do that. After getting accepted, he's asking, yes, you can do that. You can even take an AP after you've completed 1 year of college. You'll still get credits for this.
Okay, that's great. Okay, I think that takes care of all the questions. Maybe we'll stay here for a couple of more minutes to see if there are any new questions coming in. Meanwhile, I'd like to thank Abhinav sir and the team at SAT and Paper, all the tutors from SAT and Paper for putting in so many hours and for helping us build this great resource on our YouTube channel. So all the students who are here and who are going to watch this video on YouTube, there is a full repository of SAT and ACT prep material. There is a huge repository of 20+ videos on AP Fair, on what the different kind of AP exams are like. And we encourage you to watch these videos and learn about how the AP exams are structured. So thank you so much, Abhinav sir, for all this hard work that your team and you have put into this.
Thank you so much.
Okay, there's a couple more questions now which have come in. What subject AP would you recommend for a kid applying to engineering, electric and CS? I think
depending upon what they're doing, right? I mean, I would request them to go back to my first session. I think we've answered all these questions there.
Okay. Is it important for an IB student to take APs?
Go back to the first session and watch the recording. All these questions answered over.
Yes. So I think we have a lot of recordings, and the very first session about introduction to APs, we covered all these questions about which exams to take, how to select the exam. And I think that is a session which all of you can refer to. That has a lot of information about how and what APs to select. Okay, so yes. Where can you access those sessions? Let me just pull down that link from our YouTube channel.
YouTube channel, Next Genius YouTube channel. Find them all.
I'll just paste that link over here.
One more question. Can we use our resources on at-home tests? Yes, you can.
Hi, Danish. Yes, you can post your question here.
Use Barron's, best book for AP exam. Barron's has usually all good theory books. All right, so I think we're done for the day. One more session, the last one, and that's an extremely important session. Looking forward to having everyone back there on that.
Great. So thank you so much, Abhinav sir. Once again, thank you. Have a great evening, and all the students do join the last session and hear the admission officers about their views on the AP exams. It starts at 5 p.m.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.